Teach me.
So you take the biscuit, you go inside,
Dunk dunk.
dunk dunk,
And then
like
what?
this, and then.
You're living your best life, Rick. Hey everybody, Blind Man Travels here. Today we are going to react to part 2 of Rick Steves' Travel Skills Special. For those of you who do not know him who are not from the United States, Rick Steves is a travel author and television host, teaching travel skills and educating about travel in Europe in general. So without further ado, let's dive right on in.
Hi, I'm Rick Steves, immersed in the wonders of Venice, and back for part 2 of our 3-part travel skills special.
So we're in Italy this time.
This time, we're going beyond the sights to bring you more practical tips to help make your European trip fun and hassle-free. Thanks for joining us.
Again, the goal is to get you to think about traveling with this montage.
The skills we'll cover in this episode: planning, packing, safety, and perhaps the most rewarding skill of all, connecting with locals.
Okay.
Teach me.
So you take the biscuit, you go inside,
Dunk dunk.
dunk dunk,
And then
like
what?
this, and then.
You're living your best life, Rick.
Delicioso.
Wonderful.
Today, more people than ever are enjoying Europe, and it's lots of fun snapping photos of the predictable biggies and checking out the cultural icons. But you can go deeper than traditions put on display for tourists. A more intimate Europe survives. You find it best by becoming a temporary local. Drop in on a dog show. Join the village parade. Make new friends where there are no postcards. In this 3-part travel skills special, we start in the Netherlands, venture through Germany, dip into Italy, sweep through Switzerland and France before finishing in England.
Again, a nice European adventure.
In this 2nd episode, we travel through the highlights of northern Italy: Venice, Siena, and the Cinque Terre, my favorite stretch of the Riviera. For most people, Venice is a must-see
Very pretty and lots of pastel colors there.
destination. To be here on this unique island amid all this culture and history is truly a wonder. But with its popularity, St. Mark's Square in midday can come with overwhelming crowds. It'll take an hour for these folks to get into the church. With so many people traveling these days, if you're not on the ball, crowds can be a real problem. To me, there's 2 kinds of travelers: those who waste valuable time waiting in long lines like this, and smarter travelers who don't.
That's very true. Lines are fine in some countries like Japan, but in some countries it's actually better to find a way to get through the lines by booking in advance with whatever museum you're going to or going during off-peak hours.
Most lines you see, like this one at the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, are not people waiting to get in. They're waiting to buy tickets to get in. But there are other ways to get tickets. For example, these people at the Louvre in Paris could avoid this notorious line if they simply bought the City Museum Pass, which lets you go directly through the turnstile.
Yeah, the Paris Museum Pass is actually a pretty good deal if you're going to be in Paris for a few days and you think you're going to go into at least 2 or 3 different museums. And there's lots of museums that are covered under it. So it's definitely worth this value if you're going to go to a few different places for sure. And the more you go to different places, the more value you get out of it.
You can also make reservations in places like Rome's Borghese Gallery to get directly into crowded sites by phone or on the web.
Yep. Borghese Gallery, they want to protect their art, so they limit the number of people they can see it per day, just to prevent just to prevent damage from exposure to all the old paintings and statues.
Or you can arrange your schedule to avoid crowds altogether. The ancient Pantheon is mobbed through the day, but literally all yours, early or late.
That's because the Pantheon in Rome is also a church, so there are religious services being performed there too.
Travel is fraught with cultural differences. Celebrate them. It's fun. That's why we're here.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. Your birthday date, please.
On forms, fill in the date European style. Day, month, year.
There you go.
Okay, here is your key. Second floor.
Grazie.
Prego.
And over here, the ground floor is the ground floor. So what Europeans call the first floor is the American second floor, and their second floor is what we call the third. By the way, cute little European hotels, often without elevators.
That's very true. So if you're have special accommodation needs like a wheelchair, you probably want to be careful where you book your reservation and research that in advance.
In order to travel well, you need to be engaged. Weights and other measurements throughout Europe use the metric system. Give it a try. Here's about half a kilo. That's roughly a pound. All over Europe, produce in this deli, cheese and meat, is sold in 100-gram increments. That's about a quarter pound. Plenty for a hearty sandwich.
This is a kilogram. So 1 kilo, 100 grams. 10 little one makes kilogram.
It's true. It's 1/10 of the big one.
100 grams, it looks like this. This is 100 gram, this is 100 gram, and this is 100 gram. Good enough to make one sandwich.
And when they write their numbers,
Be a good looking sandwich.
Europeans use commas and periods differently than we do. For example, 1.5 kilos looks like this, and there's 1,000 grams in a kilo. And you might as well
They flip-flop the commas and the dots compared to the way the Americans do it.
write your numbers European style too. Cross your sevens, because a 1 looks like this. And for temperatures, they use Celsius rather than Fahrenheit. Here's a memory aid. 28 degrees Celsius is the same as 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Pretty warm.
Of course, with modern phones, you can still get the temperature and Fahrenheit if you have your phone set that way.
During the Middle Ages, Venice was Europe's trading superpower. But today, the big business is tourism. All over Europe, wherever there are tourists, you'll find tourist information offices. But be aware, while handy, their purpose is to help you spend money in their town.
I mentioned that in the last reaction I did.
Many are privatized, funded by hotels and big tour companies. They can be more interested in selling tickets and services than just giving out information. Still, drop in, pick up a city map, check out local events, and so on. As anywhere, when it comes to information, be a savvy consumer. You can explore Europe on your own or with a tour. Either way can be the right choice. Going on your own gives you flexibility, freedom, and you can connect more intimately with Europe. Many wish they could go on their own, but they're nervous about traveling independently. Equipped with good information and a determination to travel smart, you can be your own tour guide.
And I would heartily agree with that. That's the purpose of this channel.
Guidebooks, print or digital, are vital tools. There are guidebooks for everyone: shoppers, opera buffs, campers, seniors, even vegetarians. Invest in a guidebook that fits your style. But for many travelers, a guided bus tour can also be a good choice.
Over there, Piazzale Roma.
That's his own tour company, by the way, just so you know.
After 30 years of tour guiding experience, I've found that for the right person, choosing the right tour can reward that traveler with some of the best travel experiences possible. Good tours come with expert, passionate teachers for guides, small groups, and take full advantage of the economy and the efficiency that can come with group travel. On a tour, you'll probably see more per day than you would on your own.
our hotel is literally just down there. And 5 minutes that way is St. Mark's Square. 5 minutes that way is the Rialto Bridge. If we were staying on the outside of town or on some cruise ship, we could not be here. The benefits of being a small group are fantastic. We get to enjoy Venice as it should be enjoyed. Okay, let's get to our hotel. Come on. Barbara, you're in room 214.
Organizing the top sites into a smooth and stress-free package, a tour provides good, comfortable hotels, door-to-door bus service, except in Venice, of course, and an efficient sightseeing schedule at a fine price. But understand how standard tours make their money. The retail price is often too good to be true, designed just to get you on board. Most of their profit actually comes in Europe. For instance, here in Venice, your guide is sure to arrange an entertaining glass-blowing demonstration.
He makes the handle. Have a look. Very nice. Thank you very much.
And it's always followed by a shopping opportunity.
Yeah. Be wary of that.
Guides are generally paid a token wage and make most of their income through tips, selling optional sightseeing tours, and kickbacks on your shopping. Seeing the great sights of Europe from a cruise ship is more popular than ever. Cruising is a huge and growing industry. Like the big bus tours, it can be efficient and economical, and the base cost is reasonable. Again, the serious profit is made elsewhere, in your drinking, gambling, shopping, and selling you the onshore excursions. Each ship carries thousands of tourists effortlessly from famous port to famous port. Passengers have choices. You can spend your shore time sightseeing in organized tour groups, or you can explore on your own. There are clear options. For the independent traveler who takes advantage of a good guidebook, the ship can provide an efficient springboard for getting the most out of a series of quick one-day stops. Anywhere.
But with a cruise ship, you always want to make sure you get back because they will not wait for you to get back. So be wary of that if you ever do the cruise ship route like that.
In Europe, you can stay in touch easily with the internet. And each year, there are more good reasons to be empowered by.
And now you can use a SIM card or even a eSIM and download it onto your phone in order to stay connected.
Online tools, clever apps, and communication innovations. Internet access, often for free, is everywhere, from cafes to trains to hotels.
Make sure you're using a VPN to protect yourself. Not a sponsor, but private internet access is the one I've been using. Again, not a sponsor.
Your various mobile devices are important travel tools. Before leaving home, understand their limits, costs, and abilities. It's time to say ciao to Venice and head for Tuscany. Our next stop, Siena.
Back on the train.
Siena is a stony wonderland, an architectural time warp where pedestrians rule and the present feels like the past. Its
Siena was big in the late Middle Ages. And
main square, Il Campo, is enchanting. 500 years ago, Italy was the center of humanism. Here, it's the City Hall bell tower rather than the church spire that soars above the town. And today, the beloved square feels like a beach without sand. At the edge of Siena's medieval center, our hotel's garden is a fine place for reviewing some ideas on itinerary planning. Start your travel experience early by enjoying the planning stage. Talk to other travelers. Choose books and movies with your trip in mind. Nurture your travel dreams. Then, develop a thoughtful itinerary in steps.
this is a skill. This does take a little bit of time to learn.
Brainstorm a wish list of destinations and put them in a logical geographical order. Then write in how many days you'd like to stay in each place and then tally it up. This adds up to 32 days.
I never write it up like that, but I do try and think of things in a geographic order.
Now it's got to fit to your vacation time. I've got 21 days off. That means I've got some serious cutting to do. Minimize redundancy. Really don't want to do both the Italian Riviera and the French Riviera. I'll cut the French Riviera. Keep a balance between big cities and small towns. This itinerary is pretty heavy on big cities, so I think I'll cut Rome. That'll save a few days. Greece takes just too much time to get to. It'll have to wait till another trip.
Agreed. Think about that when you consider your travels.
Rather than spend an entire day on the train, you can save a day of your itinerary by flying or taking the night train from Bavaria to Venice.
The night train is actually a really good option because it is a time saver and it does save you on accommodations for the night too because you took the night train.
I still have to cut one day. I think I could tighten up on Paris. I had given it 4. We'll do Paris in 3 days. When I add it up, it fits. 21 days. Now fine-tune your itinerary. Anticipate close days. For instance, in Paris, museums are closed on Tuesdays. That's a good thing to keep in mind. And you can take your trip to the next level by researching and planning for events along the way. Concerts, sporting events, and festivals. It brightens your experience. Consider building in a few slack days. 2 days on the beach midway through the itinerary, that'll recharge those batteries. And one-night stops are hectic. Try your best to have 2 nights in a row at a minimum. And remember, open jaws, that's flying into one city and out of another. In this case, Amsterdam and London saves time and money. That's efficient. Finally, be realistic about how much you can cover. You'll always find places you just can't get to. I really wanted to get to Greece, but squeezing it in would rush my entire trip. Assume you will return.
That's the biggest piece of advice I would say. Don't expect that you have to cover everything in one trip. If you want to go somewhere, you'll find a way to go back there.
Travel is freedom. It's rich with choices and exciting decisions. That's part of the appeal. Factor in your comfort level with doing things on the fly. Lots of people have a great trip with nothing planned at all. Others have a great trip by nailing down every detail before leaving home. I like to keep a little flexibility in my itinerary. Perhaps I'll fall in love with Siena and stay an extra day. Also, plan thoughtfully to get the best weather and the least crowds. The most grueling thing about travel over here is the heat and crowds of summer, especially in Italy. Check the weather charts.
The heat would be exhausting.
Rule of thumb, north of the Alps is like Seattle or Boston. South of the Alps is like Southern California or Florida. I prefer visiting the Mediterranean countries in spring or fall, and I travel north of the Alps in summer. We happen to be here in August, and it's hot. Winter travel's a whole different scene, and it has its pros and cons too. Museums are empty, flights are cheaper, and the high culture, symphony, opera, and so on, is in full swing. But in the winter, it rains more and it gets dark early, especially in the north. And many activities and sites are closed or run on shorter hours.
You get more stuff to keep in the back of your mind when you're planning your trip.
While small towns, outdoor sites, and resorts can be sleepy, big cities are vibrant and festive throughout the year. By the way, while Europe has little violent crime, it comes with plenty of petty purse snatchings and pickpocketings. European thieves target Americans, not because they're mean, but because they're smart. We're the ones with all the goodies in our day bags, wallets, and purses. There are all kinds of scams. Remember, thieves don't dress like thieves. Thieves can be mothers with babies in their arms and fast-fingered children at their sides. Thieves work to distract you. They'll spill something on you or shove a cardboard sign in your face and so on. You're not likely to get mugged, but if you're not careful, you could get pickpocketed or purse snatched.
So yes, be careful. Make sure that all your valuable goods are inside your clothing as much as you can, or inside inner pockets as much as you can. Even better yet, get something like a money belt or a neck wallet that you can wear under your clothing.
How can you foil thieves without feeling like you're constantly on guard? A great way to handle this problem is to zip up and secure your valuables. I wear a money belt. It's a nylon pouch you tie around your waist and tuck in like your shirt tail. In it, you carry just your essentials so that you can wear it comfortably all day long. For instance, I keep my driver's license, A couple of credit cards, my passport, my big money, and my train tickets. As an added precaution, before my trip, I email myself all my important personal information.
You can also put that in some cloud storage like Google Drive or something like that too now.
Venice and Siena are wonderful cities, but they're very popular. Throughout Europe, I make a point to venture beyond the famous stops. In Bosnia, watch daredevils jump from a bridge rebuilt after the war. In England, climb your own private peak.
That's not a very big peak compared to what's available in the United States.
In the north of Spain, you can join the pilgrims on the route to Santiago. I love the charm of the Cinque Terre, 5 remote and traffic-free villages wedged in the most rugged bit of the Italian Riviera, trying
It looks very rustic.
to hide out from today's modern world as they did from pirates centuries ago. Each town is a character. This is Vernazza. While this stretch of coast was an exciting discovery for me 30 years ago, it's pretty touristy now, and that's the case with much of Europe. But Europe still has its untouristy corners. And even in popular places like this, you can still find your own back doors. Venture away from the spiffed-up commercial zones. Explore.
It's kind of steep there. That may not be the most accessible for wheelchair users, by the way.
Vernazza has no modern hotels. And that's actually good news. It keeps away the high-maintenance travelers, those that demand all the 4-star comforts. You can sleep in humble pensions, move in with families renting out spare rooms, and enjoy the classic small-town Riviera experience. Whether the place
Always a good idea to check on this if you have a disability that inhabits your mobility.
is touristy or not, you can always connect with the locals. Offer to catch a line. And leave the crowded main street. Support the local entrepreneurs. Come si chiama?
Conchiglia.
Conchiglia, shell. In English, shell. Quanto costa? €2. Okay. Good. Grazie. Buon lavoro. Ciao. Years ago, the language barrier was a big problem, but today's Europe is increasingly bilingual, and English is its second language. These days, it seems any place interested in your business speaks your
Rooms with terrace.
language. While it's nothing to brag about, I speak only English and manage just fine. Still, a few tips help. First of all, it's rude to assume everybody speaks English. I start politely by asking, "Parlez-vous anglais?" Sprechen Sie English? Whatever. If they say no, I do my best in their language. Generally, after a couple of sentences, they'll say, "Actually, I do speak a little English." Okay, they're going to do you a favor by speaking your language. Do them a favor by speaking clearly, slowly, enunciate. Easy words, no contractions, international words.
This is still very valid advice.
Rather than asking, "Can I use the restroom?" ask, "Toilet?" Rather than saying, "Can I take your picture?" ask, "Photo?" Make educated guesses and proceed confidently. This must be a pharmacy.
I was going to say that based upon the cross there.
And at the station, this sign shows trains arriving and trains departing.
Trainee arrival. So I'm going to assume that's arriving. And then the bottom one down is train. And I can't read that word, but I'm going to assume that's departures.
Communicate with a curiosity and an appetite for learning. In Europe, Each region has its own gestures.
So in Italy we have lots of gestures. For example, this one, delizioso, which is delicious, very good, eccellente. And then we have also this, watch out, be careful with the money, danger, you know. And then we have also this one, what would you like from me? What do you want? I mean, although like this, for example, we don't want, no, I don't want this, I don't like, I don't want this. And then we have the delizioso.
The chef's kiss.
Magnifico, eccellente, bellissimo, the best, for example. And then we have this one, body, you know, it's Thai, like good friends, very good friends, buddy, and lots of gestures. We can talk here all day long.
There's also a gesture for, I'm tired of carrying my bags. Whether you're battling crowds or exploring the back doors.
I think this applies even more if you're disabled. Making sure that you are packing light and not having any expectation on anyone else to help you carry your luggage.
There's only one way to avoid this. Packing light is essential for happy travel. Think about it. Have you ever met anybody who after 5 trips brags, every year I pack heavier? Learn now, or you'll learn later, the importance of being mobile with your luggage. Pack light. While large,
Yeah, that looks huge.
unwieldy suitcases are bad for this kind of travel, smaller carry-on size wheelie bags are popular and can work well. If you don't mind slinging your suitcase over your shoulder, a bag like this works great. This is a convertible suitcase backpack. It's designed to be as big as you can carry onto most airplanes. I use it as a backpack, but if you zip away these padded shoulder straps, it converts into a soft-sided suitcase. You'll see all kinds of travelers and bags on the road.
That's, by the way, is the same kind of bag I use.
Remember, you'll be walking a lot with your bags, especially if traveling by train. Before your trip, try this test. Load everything up and go downtown. Window shop for an hour with all your gear. If you can't do that comfortably, go home. Spread everything out on the living room floor and reconsider. Pick up each item one at a time and look at it. Ask yourself, will I use this swimming mask enough to justify carrying it around? Not will I use it. Be great fun here in the Riviera. But will I use it enough to feel good about carrying it through the Swiss Alps? Frugal as I may be, I'd rather buy it here than pack it all around Europe. Don't pack for the worst scenario. Pack for the best scenario, and if you need something more, buy it over here. If you run out of toothpaste, that's no problem. Then you've got a great excuse to shop around over here and pick up something you think might be toothpaste.
It's actually a pretty good idea.
You can get virtually everything in Europe. If you can't get one of your essentials here, perhaps you should ask yourself how 400 million Europeans can live without it. Whether traveling for 2 weeks or 3 months, I pack exactly the same. Everything I need fits in this bag. For travelers, Europe is casual. For warmth, layer it. In the summertime, a light sweater and a light jacket, that works great. In the winter, of course, you'll want to check the climate charts and pack for rain and cold. For
packing cubes are also very helpful as well for organization, at least for me.
pants, I like to wear these jeans, and in the Mediterranean where it's so hot and muggy, I bring a light pair of long pants as well. A pair of shorts doubles as a swimsuit. For shirts, I have a t-shirt, I have 2 or 3 short sleeve shirts, and I like to bring a couple of long sleeve shirts. The thing that determines when I need to do my laundry is when I run out of socks and underwear. How many you take is up to you. As far as shoes go, this is really important. Bring 1 pair of well broken in, sturdy walking shoes. If you bring a second pair of shoes, make it a light one. For travel information, this is really important, but don't go too heavy on this.
That part, I would say now you can actually get that travel guidebooks, whatever you pick, you can actually download that onto whatever kind of smartphone or tablet you're using. And it's a little bit of an easier way to read that, in my experience.
I bring a notebook, the maps I need, a couple of chapters ripped out of various guidebooks, and my favorite guidebooks covering the places I'll be traveling. I also have a toiletries kit. very small, just the basics, you're on vacation, and a miscellaneous stuff bag full of odds and ends. You know, the 10 essentials that you'll never need. I didn't pack an umbrella, but it rained, so I bought one. They're cheap over here. And when I'm out and about, I got my day bag. For women,
That's a good idea to have a smaller bag during the day and have the bigger bag with all your clothing and only use it when you're going to the airport or going from one location, from one city to another.
women, of course, there are differences and lots of clever tips, but it's just as important to be mobile, and these same basic principles of packing light apply.
I can't speak for packing as a woman, obviously, but yeah, there's definitely ways to pack light for women too.
Now, let me talk about electronics. These days, there's Wi-Fi just about everywhere. I bring a laptop because I'm working.
Again, use a VPN now.
A little point-and-shoot camera works fine for me.
Smartphone camera is even better now.
I buy a simple cell phone over here. It's handy for calling within Europe, and I bring my smartphone from
That's how dated this is, because now you can download eSIM onto your normal phone.
home. These days, this is an increasingly valuable tool for those on the road. All of these are dual voltage. They work just fine in Europe. Your only concern is physically plugging it into the wall. Your American plug won't work, so you need one of 2 European adapters. In Britain, you use the adapter with the 3
That's what I call the fat prongs.
rectangular prongs, and anywhere on the continent, the adapter with the 2 little round prongs works just great. Exploring is part of good travel. Giuliano, who dished up my pasta last night, is taking me on a short hike to the family vineyard. Besides packing light, planning right, and learning your communication skills, travel in a way that broadens your perspective. And for me, that means connecting with and learning from friendly locals. Whether you're enjoying happy hour on the Oslo fjord, pulling out all the stops in a grand pipe organ loft, or eating beyond your comfort zone. Oh, that's an explosion of taste.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to try new things. That's the biggest thing.
Enrich your experience by what I call traveling on purpose. Experiencing communities in action. Connecting with people whose cultures challenge ours.
That's nice to hear.
Joining seekers on the pilgrimage trail. Again, wherever you venture, let the experience broaden your perspective. And that's my kind of souvenir. Thanks for joining us. Next time we finish our 3-part travel skills special with lots more practical tips in the Swiss Alps, Paris, and London. I'm Rick Steves. Keep on traveling. Ciao.
Okay, so that's the end of part 2 of the Rick Steves Travel Skills Special. Put your thoughts in the comments section down below. I do have a card up here that does link to my reaction playlist if you want to watch more of that. As we are slowly but surely growing our channel to 100 subscribers, hit that subscribe button. To see something else I've done recently, click right there or right there. Again, I don't know where it's going to be because I am blind.